The morning her father left, the sky hung heavy and gray, as if it already knew what was about to happen. I stood quietly at the doorway, a small orange kitten, my paws gripping the familiar wooden frame. My eyes were fixed on him, my father, an orange cat with tired shoulders, carrying a small bag. He walked away from our home, our life, and never once looked back. Beside him, another woman cat walked, her steps confident, her head held high. A tight knot formed in my chest, making it hard to breathe. Tears started to roll down my soft, furry cheeks. I whispered his name, "Daddy." But the sound was stolen by the wind. It never reached him. Behind me, a terrible sound ripped through the quiet morning. It was my mother, collapsed on the floor, her body shaking with loud, heartbroken sobs. That sound, the sound of my mother's world breaking apart, etched itself into my heart forever. From that day on, our world changed. Laughter disappeared. The warmth we once knew was replaced by a chilling emptiness. Hunger became a constant, unwelcome guest. There were no more coins left on the table for treats. No one to come home in the evening with a fish or a small bit of meat. My two younger brothers would cry at night, their small voices asking when Daddy would come back. My mother would pull them close, her fur soaked with her own silent tears, and force a weak smile. "Soon," she'd whisper, a promise she couldn't keep. To keep us from starving, my mother did something I never imagined. Every morning before the sun rose, she'd tie a scarf around her head and leave for the construction site. She, who had always had soft paws and a gentle touch, started carrying heavy stones and mixing cement under the harsh, glaring sun. Her body ached, her paws cracked and bled, but she never once complained. Each evening, she would return, exhausted and covered in dust, and place a small bag of food on the table like it was the most priceless treasure in the world. "Eat, my children," she would say softly, her voice raspy with fatigue. "As long as I am breathing, you will not go hungry." I watched her grow thinner, her bright orange fur losing its shine. I started to help. I learned to clean the house, to patch my brother's torn clothes, and to stretch the little food we had to last one more day. I would wait for her by the door, with a bowl of warm water for her tired paws. I told my brother stories at night, stories of brave heroes and happy endings, trying to fill the void our father left. Then came the day I feared most. One afternoon, while lifting a heavy load, my mother's vision blurred. The world around her went quiet and her legs gave way. She collapsed onto the dusty ground. Workers rushed to her side, their shouts for help echoing in the distance. I ran alongside the stretcher as they carried her away, my heart pounding with a terrifying rhythm. The hospital smelled of disinfectant and fear. My mother lay on the bed, so thin and fragile, her breathing shallow. I held her paw, my tears falling silently onto her fur. She slowly opened her eyes and managed a faint smile. "My daughter," she whispered, her voice trembling. "You are strong." Stronger than you know. The tears I'd been holding back streamed down my face. "Mama, please don't leave us. Please don't go." She lifted her paw, a movement that seemed to take all her strength, and gently wiped a tear from my cheek. "Promise me," she whispered, her voice barely audible, "you will take care of your brothers. Promise me you will always be brave." I nodded, choked by sobs. "I promise, Mama, I promise." Just then, the construction site supervisor walked in, his face etched with worry. He had seen how hard my mother worked, how she never gave up. He quietly placed a small, heavy bag of coins on the bedside table. "This is from all of us," he said gently. "For the hospital bills. Your mother is the bravest worker we've ever had." That small act of kindness was a ray of light in our darkest moment. With that money, we could buy her medicine. I stayed by her side day and night. I spoon-fed her broth, I read to her, I held her paw and reminded her of her own words to be strong. And slowly, so slowly, her strength began to return. The light came back to her eyes. When she was finally able to leave the hospital, the supervisor had another surprise. He offered her a new job, cooking for the workers in the site's kitchen. It was work she loved, work that nourished others instead of breaking her body. Our lives began to mend. I went back to school, studying harder than ever, fueled by a promise to build a better future. My little brothers were happy and well-fed, their laughter once again filling our small house. Years passed. Our house was no longer just a house. It became a home again. It was filled with the smell of my mother's wonderful cooking with my brothers, cheerful games, and with the quiet, unbreakable bond of a family that had walked through a storm and found the sunshine on the other side together. We had learned that home isn't about what you have, but who you have beside you.